So, Sarah, I guess the stage is yours. So everyone would like to know more about your job and how we can implement the oxygen advantage to Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and the sports overall.
Yeah.
Okay,
Feel at
excellent.
home with us. Feel like at home. We are listening to you. And yes, every word you will say will impact definitely us in terms of coming back with medals. So floor is yours.
Thank you, Rafael. Thank you, Victor, for inviting me. Thank you, everyone who is here and everyone who is listening in the replay for taking time to maybe have a different perspective on something. The work that we all do. I know that everyone who is in the group of Rafael and Victor are people that already make things a bit different and want to have an impact inside of themselves and in the sport of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu that is a bit maybe uncommon. And I love people that work differently with themselves and use a sport to develop themselves and become a better human being in the world for everyone. I think that sports has the power, and I think we all know that, otherwise we wouldn't be doing what we do, the power to change and connect better than a lot of things that we can do whilst we're talking and trying to make justice through political situations. And in this time, more than ever, I think that we need people that are capable to connect, to people that have a good mind and a good body in sports and in life, and also to know how to detach from the stories that are ruling our world. Why am I saying this? Because every time in the history of us humans in this world has a different impact also on our brains and the way we move. So sports have been developed over since humans exist over the centuries of human history in relation to what is happening in the world. And I know that this time is very, very challenging for every country, but because of what you're doing with the sport, you are helping the world to think and behave in a better way. So this is not meant to be a spiritual talk, but I think that there's a lot of power in the jobs that you are doing. And so my work has been in the past 20 years. I have been researching on how to be honest to yourself through movement. Okay. And as you know, there are lots of people that compete in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu that use Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu to cover who they really are and to use maybe also aggression and a lot of manipulation, because it's also a sport that is peak performance in how to manipulate movement. And there might be a lot of people that have been using jiu-jitsu to move against the potential that jiu-jitsu has. And so one of the main things that I would like to talk about today is how the breath is always going to show you what is actually happening inside of your mind, and also what is actually happening behind closed doors inside of your personality, which is related to the muscles and the function of your heart. And when I speak about the heart, I don't speak about anything romantic, but more your heart rate and how your heart can make you feel either safe during competitions or make you feel out of center. Yeah. So what I work with Victor and other people when I use the oxygen advantage is how to move efficiently inside of your mind and how to move efficiently in your body, but also socially. So first, is the tempo that I'm using in English okay? Or is it too fast? Can you hear me well?
It's everything perfect, so just please continue.
Okay. For me, it's hard when I'm in Zoom meetings. I struggle a bit sometimes to interrupt or ask questions. So if there is something where you want to talk to me, don't feel that you're interrupting me. It would be really great if you just ask or add or share whatever comes to your mind, okay?
Mhm.
So the oxygen advantage is a technique that has not been developed by me, but by a group of people, and there is someone that is leading that knowledge over many centuries, there's been done a lot of research on how the body functions, how the brain functions. And the brain is always going to be related to your breath. So what means that you can get far with a bad breathing. To a certain degree, you can get far because we are really good in suppressing our health, and also through a lot of emotional suppression, we can get very far in life. But there's going to be a moment where we either are going to hurt other bodies more than necessary, and we definitely are going to use way more force than we need to access a really good level of competition. And so the oxygen advantage works a lot with trying to work, as I already said, as efficiently with oxygen as possible, to then also improve your biochemistry, which means, so if you ever have suffered a depression, you know what it feels like if your brain doesn't function pretty well. When there's something going off, or your heart has been broken in a relationship once, you know what it feels like when your brain, your behavior is not working with your potential, because everything is a bit working like that. And so the oxygen advantage works with trying to move you into an alignment as much as possible in your chemistry from your organs, so that your organs, and when I say organs, I mean the liver, the kidneys, the intestine, the heart, the lungs, your brain, everything that is hidden behind your body. The organs are going to impact how your joints move, how your muscles move, and how efficient and fast you can recover, but also deploy and execute what you are capable of. When I speak about performance, I don't want to speak about you are a performer, someone who is doing great stuff in a moment in your life, and the rest of what you do is useless. But when I work with people, I do the opposite. I try to move out of performance and instead strengthen the human to be more in connection with yourself, so that the performance becomes almost unnecessary, because you are present in your life, in your relationships, but also in your sport. And if you are present as a human, you're going to be another athlete. Because I think that the future is being shaped by humans that can deploy the artistry of athleticism while still being who they are in their sport, instead of being someone else outside of your sport and then trying to find the solution for everything like a religion in the sport. I don't want that. I'm looking for a world that has the capability to be present with the weaknesses, human, and then use the strength to connect all of that. And all of you that are listening now and that are going to listen to the replay are different. And we want people to be different and to respect the differences, so that we can be great athletes, because that makes great humans too. More or less, this is how I connect the oxygen advantage to the work that I do with athletes. When it comes to the oxygen advantage, we are going to do some tests now, just so you know that for me, the breath is not disconnected from the performance, is not disconnected from who you are when you feel the worst in your life. And the worst that you feel in your life, that is allowed to be part of the work as well, so that you can feel safe when you are not feeling good too. Otherwise, you'll always try to seek for the top without being here in your roots and being okay with not feeling okay. The breath work is a very intense work, because you cannot lie to yourself. It's the most honest truth that is going to hit you in your face when you do it. You can pretend and lie with movements and technique, but your breath is always going to tell the truth. Nevertheless, you can train your breath, and this is what we're here for today. So what we're going to do now is we're going to do 3 exercises where we're going to test.
Sarah,
Yeah.
can you stop for a moment?
Yes.
Victor raised a little hand.
Oh,
Maybe
see,
he
I
has a
didn't see
question.
that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, so I just wanted to mention that that was a really important what you said, and well said, beautiful topic, because lower belts always ask me, Victor, what can I do before the competition? What's the hack that you could have the mindset during the day of competition, right? And what you said, rather than to work on the event just to perform for a few hours, you work on your unique possibilities, right? You invest in your version of yourself, right? So you would rather invest, right? So develop your breath and your just persona, right? So it's not just the hack that we're gonna implement for the day of the tournament. And this is awesome because this also involves every other part of your life. So it's not just you're gonna be a better athlete or a better sports person, but that's gonna affect your relationships, how you work, right? How you just overall feel. And I can tell when I started doing the oxygen advantage, the things changed. So
Amazing, Victor. Thank you for adding that. I think that's a very important point. It's a lot about regulation. Know how to regulate yourself. And the work that I do is, yes, it's very important in the sport itself to work with that too, but you have to make sure that you are becoming aware of how you regulate and how you breathe outside of the sport. So most of the exercises that today I'm going to show you some things that are super basic. I love basics. And as you were listening to me, it sounds pretty complex and my mind is very much 360-degree all the time. But when it comes to the work, I like it to be very simple and not complicated. And I like it to be not spiritual. I like it to be scientific and clear so that you can also then check your progress over time and know that as much as technique takes time, changing the breathing pattern also takes time because it's something that you might have been doing for 30, 40, 50, 60 years in a certain way. And the knowledge that I'm going to give you is probably going to be similar to things that you have already done in your life with breathing. The difference in the oxygen advantage is that we work a lot with trying to inhale less to access more oxygen. So the idea is to learn to breathe in a way that helps you to stop losing energy. And most people, me included, no matter how much I know about this and how much I practice, lose a lot of energy by breathing in a way that doesn't allow your brain and your body to get the oxygen that it needs. Because when it comes to breathing, and then we move into the tests, a lot of things that we do with the breath that should improve our breathing and oxygenation are counterintuitive. So let's say if you guys didn't have any education about nutrition, it would feel good to eat certain things that you know are not good for you. And so what you want to try to do is to understand that in order to get the right nutrition into your body through oxygenation, you're probably gonna need to behave counterintuitive in the beginning so that you can access a better intuition inside of yourself. So this is a bit more complex. I'm saying this and I'll explain later why, but for now, let's go a bit more practical. And I'm gonna put a timer on now. What you're gonna do, no matter if you're watching the replay or you're at home now, super simple. You're going to count your breaths. So we're going to speak about one breath being one inhalation and one exhalation. So if you inhale and exhale, that's one breath. Inhale, exhale, second breath. Inhale, exhale, third breath. Inhale, exhale, fourth breath. You're going to count the breaths when I say, okay, guys, start counting with the next inhalation. Start. Then you're going to be counting in your head. And when I say stop, you will tell me how many breaths you took. Does that make sense? Yeah? Okay. So Yes, question.
Hello, Sarah. My name is Matt.
Hello.
I have a question because I'm finished yet my training 30 minutes ago, and my breath, it's not. I know how to say. My nervous system is not calm right now.
Mhm.
So I'm just finished my training, the sparrings. So it's okay or not right
It's
now?
absolutely fine. It's absolutely fine. And I'll give you homework to check
Okay.
your breath after sparring, after waking up, before going to sleep. So this is a test. It's called 1 minute ventilation. It's actually to check. You don't try to change your breathing now. So let's say you're breathing like this. Then you count it like that. You don't try to
Okay.
change it, make it better or worse. It's exactly how you are right now. So that's perfect. And then let's say in the next days, you do it right after sparring and you compare if that's still the same number.
Okay, clear. Thank you.
Okay, so now you, as I said, now you don't try to change anything. We're just gonna be counting our inhales and exhales. 1 is inhale, exhale. 2 is inhale, exhale. You're going to exhale now. You're gonna inhale. You're going to take the time that you need to exhale. And with the next inhalation, we're going to start counting our breaths now. And you stay in a natural state, you're definitely going to probably count a bit slower, but try to stay in how you were breathing whilst listening. And I'll make a stop right here. Stop and tell me how many breaths you took. You were 7, okay. 3, 6, 3.5, 7, 6.5. Okay, so we had some people that had like 3, 3.5, and the others were like more in the 6, 7 type of group. Okay, excellent. So this is something that you're gonna be doing at least 3 times a day. Happy if you do it right after sparring. Let's say you move out of the mat and then someone is talking to someone, you take your phone out, you're going to press play and stop, and you're going to try to see what happens for 60 seconds. Okay, we're going to do this one more time. You're going to breathe the same way. You're going to inhale. I'm going to tell you something more in a second. You're going to exhale. And with the next inhalation, now we start counting our breaths. And stop. Tell me how many it was now. Was it the same number? Yeah, more or less the same. Okay, a little bit less for you, Rafael. Some people were having the same or maybe one less, one more. Okay, excellent. So this exercise I would like you to do when you feel stressed, when you are super calm. Let's say, I don't know when you're calm. Some people are calm when they go to bed. Some people are calm after work. Some people are calm. So you'll figure that out. But in 3 situations every day, if you want to make homework, would be one day, one time when you feel calm, you're going to count 60 seconds, your breaths. Then after sparring, and then before training. Questions to that? Not yet? Okay, I'm going to continue speaking. If you have questions, just unmute yourself. Now, I did check how many times you did breathe for 30 seconds. So the number that you got you have to multiply it for 2. Because usually we do 60 seconds counting, but now to save a little bit of time, I said, okay, we're going to do 30 seconds. Didn't tell you. You counted your breaths. And because it was 30 seconds, but the test is called 1 minute ventilation, you will have to double the number for 2. So let's say Victor got 4, so his number would be 8. Jacek got 6, so your number is going to be 12. If you had 7, it's going to be 14. Why is this important for you? So when we speak about efficient breathing and efficient oxygenation, every technique will probably tell you something different. What we do with the Oxygen Advantage is we want to try to get as much oxygen as possible into your blood, your muscles, and your brain whilst being at rest, so that when you do that whilst training, your body also knows how to regulate itself during hard, difficult situations, but also during situations that are common for you. So let's say if someone goes running on a daily basis of you, I want you to breathe in a way whilst you're running that is not going to fuck up your whole system whilst you are doing something that is supposed to help you build stamina. If you breathe a lot through your mouth whilst you're training, you are going to actually create a lot of stress in your nervous system, and your blood is going to have less oxygen. Everything that is connected to mouth breathing is going to allow polluted air to move right immediately into your throat, which is going to create a lot of stress in your immune system, and which is going to also not allow the air to humidify through the nostrils, not to clean up through the nostrils hairs, which is then not going to move right into your breathing organs, but into other organs instead, and create a lot of dysfunctional starting points when it comes to breathing. If you inhale through your mouth, there are lots of studies that show, I'm not going to speak so much about a lot of studies and tell you which did what, but if you're interested in that, I can bring them into the next call that we may do at some point. But there are lots of studies that mathematically explain that if you mouth breathe, less air and less oxygen are going to get into your body. So it's basically what happens is A, the air comes into your body in a very dirty way. B, you're not using the muscles that are helping your air to come into the body in a nice and or how is called that smooth way. Then you're not using the right organs, and which means that your diaphragm is going to be working dysfunctional. If you're breathing through your mouth and exhaling through your mouth, you're also losing a lot of CO2. CO2 is very important for athletes because CO2 is the gas that transports oxygen. So if you are losing CO2 through your mouth, like me now, whilst I'm talking, I'm losing a lot of CO2. That means that I'm having less oxygenation than if I would try, like you, to keep my mouth shut. So if I work a lot and teach a lot, I, as a teacher, if you're a teacher too, or if you have people that you're talking to before going a jiu-jitsu class, because that's your work, you have to talk, you have to make sure that you regulate your chemistry before going into the class. Otherwise, you're going to feel out of breath. So one important information is, if I use my nose to inhale, A, my air is going to be humidified. B, the air is going to come in clean. C, I'm going to use my diaphragm way more than if I inhale through the mouth. Why is that important? Because the diaphragm is a muscle that is meant to help you breathe efficiently. And then also there are gases that are important that I'm going to speak about in the next half an hour that are only being built if you nasal breathe. You know this feeling that your nose is blocked, that you can't inhale through your nose? That is only happening if you are mouth breathing. Because there's a gas that is being built during exhalation that is called nitric oxide that helps your nose to be unblocked. This gas that is called nitric oxide is also important for your lungs to feel 360-degree opening whilst inhalation. You know this feeling when you inhale and you feel like you can't inhale air? That can only happen if you're breathing in and out too fast. Coming to your numbers. Your numbers are going to show you how fast you're breathing per minute. If we have a minute here, so this is second 1, second 60, and you are breathing many times per minute, that means that less oxygen is going to be received from your body. This sounds a bit weird and counterintuitive because and then we make a break because I'm speaking a lot. If you inhale a lot of times, so let's say you do, maybe your brain thinks, okay, this helps me to get air in. Or if I can't breathe and I do this to get air in, I think that by inhaling more, if I'm feeling out of breath, by inhaling more, I'm going to receive more oxygen. But this is wrong. You're only going to be able chemically to receive a lot of oxygen in your body if you take less breaths per minute. So the people that are breathing in these numbers that you see on the right side, less times per minute. So in this case, if someone was breathing 3 times or 4 times in 30 seconds, that person is going to take more oxygen into the body than the people that are breathing 10 times per 30 seconds or 7 times. That's chemistry, not my opinion. It's a bit unlogical because we think, I can't breathe, I need more air. But now, and then we make a break, is the interesting part is oxygen can only be transported to the body, to the blood, to the muscles, if you have enough CO2 molecules. CO2 molecules can only be built during slow exhalations. So let's say CO2 molecules are small cars. If you inhale and exhale very slow, a lot of cars are being produced in your lungs. When you inhale again and oxygen wants to move into your body, there are enough cars to transport the oxygen boom, 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 into your blood and into your muscles. But if you inhale and exhale very fast, so let's say you go 8 times per 30 seconds, means 16 times per minute in a calm situation, you are inhaling more oxygen than you are producing CO2 molecules. Then a lot of oxygen is coming in, but there are not enough cars to transport the oxygen to the blood. And what happens then is that we're going to feel out of breath. Exactly. So I'm going to answer your question in a second. That being said, even though it might be still a bit confusing, is that more or less clear that less slow exhalation produces CO2? CO2 is responsible to take O2 molecules and transport them to the blood. So if I inhale too much money, too much O2, but I have no cars to get it into the bank, I'm going to feel like I can't breathe and my lung is feeling blocked. Okay, that's just the chemistry part of things. Is that okay or difficult? Okay. Philippe, also good? Okay, good. The guys that I'm not seeing, thank you for being here. I still feel you guys. So now your question was, how about, for example, when your nose is not straight, so let's say you have a nose that is a bit weird, and you have one hole blocked. So when you're breathing now, put one finger, every one of you, underneath your nostrils and exhale. Feel what is happening in both nostrils and then inhale and feel if you can feel one nostril being more blocked than the other. Usually there is one that is a bit more blocked and one that is a bit more open. Rarely both are 100% open. Sometimes, but rarely. Could you feel this? There's one that is more blocked. Every 90 minutes, our nervous system is going to shift from sympathetic. Yes, I'm going to get back to that in a second, your second question. So we have two nervous systems. One is the sympathetic nervous system and one is the parasympathetic. Sympathetic is there for action and the other one is there for relaxation and recovery. Your body is intelligent and your body doesn't want you to be in one for 12 hours or in the other one for 24 hours. So what is doing your body is every 90 minutes, one nervous system is a bit more active than the other, independent of what you're going through in your life. One nostril is helping one nervous system, the other one is helping another nervous system. So probably in 1 or 2 hours, the other one is going to be more blocked. Okay? That's what happens in your body. It has nothing to do with your nose being straight or small or big. Okay? Now, the other thing that is important, we're going to make an exercise that is going to help you probably unblock the other nostril and feel like you have more air. If you exhale slow, and this is the question that I hope I say your name right, Jacek, is that right?
Jacek, yep, exactly.
Jacek,
Yes,
okay.
yeah.
Jacek, thank you for asking the question. What is good for you to get to? This is why we do this test of 1 minute ventilation when you're calm, before your training and after your training, is to check a bit, how are you breathing? You don't want to change it whilst you're breathing. You just want to check, okay, is my number high? Is my number low? Our optimal state of breathing for training our breath to be very efficient here, and in movement is to try to get to 6 breaths per minute. 6 breaths per minute during rest. That's what we want to practice. So our next homework would be that you go for one walk on a daily basis. Maybe you have a dog, maybe you go to the supermarket, maybe you do an extra 10-minute walk in nature where you practice 4 seconds in, 6 seconds out. If we do maths and we do 4 seconds inhalation, 6 seconds exhalation, we have 10 seconds is 1 breath. 4 in, 6 out, 10 seconds, 1 breath. If we multiply that 6 times, we have 1 minute. Does it make sense? Okay, cool. So we want to learn, like, for example, now whilst you're listening to someone in a Zoom meeting and you're a bit bored, you can practice to go for 4 in, 6 out. How do you do that whilst walking? You can make it a bit easier for you and say 4 steps inhalation, 6 steps exhalation. I recommend for you to do that 10 minutes per day. That would mean that you would have probably 60 breaths per 10 minutes. Why is that important? So that your brain and body gets used to slowing your breaths down. I also recommend to do that whilst lying. And we're going to do that now whilst sitting. If you lay on the bed or on the floor, your body is way more relaxed. Your breath muscles are also more inactive than if you're sitting straight. And you're also more relaxed so that you can really dive into your body. If you're walking, it's a bit more difficult, but I want you to try that too. So what we're going to do now is to not only focus, and this is the Oxygen advantage, doesn't focus on numbers. So we don't focus on 4 in, 6 out, we focus on volume. Most of the people, whilst they are breathing, and I can tell you that the people that got numbers like 6 and 7, they are not using the rib cage whilst they are breathing. If you touch your clavicle, yeah? If you touch your a bit the muscles underneath your clavicle, please do me the favor to go a bit like underneath it. Did you know that your first rib starts underneath your clavicle? How many ribs do we have per side? What do you think? Just as a guessing. You can't be stupid because I am the person that is the most stupid in the whole group here. I'm just honored to be talking a little bit. But how many ribs do you think do we have on the left? How many ribs do we have on the right side? If the ribs start here, and then if you continue to go further down, you can see that the rib almost finishes at my hip. So in between, if you move down with the fingers and you check, okay, where is my last rib? Where does my rib finish? It's usually at the hip. It's like you have like 2 to 3 fingers in between the last rib and the hip. Yes, you have 12 ribs. Right, really good, iPhone, whoever you are. You have 12 ribs on the left side. So you have one rib starting here, and they go down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 11, 12 until here. They're almost like where your underwear starts, basically this whole thing, like my whole t-shirt basically is 2 ribs, 12 ribs here, 12 ribs here. And they are shorter. I mean, this is logical, but I still say it because most athletes don't know this. They are shorter here. The rest here are organs, and they get longer here. And your lungs, guys, your lungs finish here. So basically, at the beginning of your trousers or the beginning of your underwear, on top of that, you have 2 flipping big lungs. No one is using these lungs. No one is using the ribs to breathe. Everyone is using the mouth. So we have a big problem because athletes that are working with their bodies on an hour basis or daily basis, Jacob, hello. People are not using the lungs. So imagine if this is my face and all this thing here, I mean, I have intestines here and I have a liver and I have a stomach and I have kidneys, but the rest on top, so everything that is hard is lungs. Everything where the bones are is lungs, and no one is using the lungs to breathe. Everyone is using the face. So when you ask me the questions about if your nose is not straight, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter because we need more time and more sessions for you to understand that it's not the nose what is the problem for breathing. It's that you're not using what is underneath your head, the lungs. And so if the lungs are being protected by the ribs, we have to move the ribs to access the lungs. If I would touch you, or if I would have touched you whilst you're listening to me in the ribs, and I would have had my hands like this, invisible as a ghost, no one of you was moving the ribs. And so we have in between the ribs, we have muscles. They are running diagonally, inside and outside. And on top of the muscles that are in between the ribs, so you can open the ribs like this. If you really focus on it, you can spread them and open them. And on top of the ribs, you have different layers of abdominal walls. The psoas is connecting the lumbar spine, so the lumbar spine, the lower spine, with your thighs. That's the deepest abdominal wall. But on top of that, you have the transversus abdominis that is connecting your rib cage with your hips, with your pelvis. The rib cage with your pelvis. On top of the transversus abdominis, that are muscles that are running horizontally, you have the obliques, that are muscles that are running diagonally. And on top of that, you have the rectus abdominis, the six-pack muscle, that is a muscle that is running like this, up and down. So the first layer on top of the ribs is like this. You can bring the ribs together and spread them apart, also with the help of the transversus abdominis. On top, you have the obliques that are helping you to move the ribs together whilst you exhale, like this. And on top of that, you have the rectus abdominis that helps you to crunch, which is very important for Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. But if you're only using the muscles on top and not the organs, the function of the muscles is going to be dysfunctional. So now what we're going to do is we're going to use the inhalation for 4 seconds, the exhalation for 6 seconds to move 12 ribs. And they are not in front. They are on your side, they are on your back. So I need you to now put the hands like this around your ribs. And I want you to press a little bit into your ribs. So I want you to touch them. And if you touch your ribs, and you might have a kid or you might have a girlfriend or whatever, you know that if you embrace the kid or you pull it up, or the girlfriend or a partner, the ribs are going to move together. So you actually can use the ribs, because they are also soft tissues and in the lowest ribs, to move them together and spread them apart. So whilst you're touching yourself, I want you to feel how the rib cage is spreading whilst you inhale and moving together whilst you exhale. And so instead of just doing 4 seconds inhale and 6 seconds exhale, you want to expand this flipping great 2 organs that you have inside of your body for 4 seconds. And you want to allow the organs to move the air out and the rib cage to contract a little bit and move together during exhalation. Why is this important? Because if your rib cage is not moving during breathing whilst at rest, your spine is going to be fucked, your hips are going to be stiff, your knees are going to be stiff, and your ankles too, which makes you less efficient whilst doing Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. So if you want your body to recover, your spine to recover, your hips to recover, and your knees too, you need to use the rib cage. Most problems that people have in the knees come from not using the rib cage right. I'm simplifying, but I work a lot with bodies.
Maybe just one question to this one, because I was playing a little bit about the idea of spreading the rib cage and stuff. And the thing is that when I try to expand the rib cage, then I feel that somehow the breath is forced. So I can feel that my throat is somehow squeezing, right? So what? So do I do it correctly, or how to fix this?
Good question. So I'm speaking a lot and I'm giving a lot of information, but if we want to simplify it, what is very important is we do the test of 1 minute ventilation to keep it very simple now for the beginning, to check how many times you are breathing per minute, okay? Then you see, oh, my number today or after training is very high. Good. Sarah said that if it's high, it means that I'm taking a lot of oxygen in and I'm breathing less efficient, but that's okay. I'm now out of sparing. I'm just going to observe how the number is going to change with the time. Then what happens is the moment that we start to test how we are breathing whilst being at rest and start to test 4 seconds inhale, 6 seconds exhale, what is happening is that we sometimes start to feel the pattern that is actually happening all the time in our body without us noticing it. So most definitely, Victor, what you're feeling now in your throat or in other body parts is what is actually happening while dysfunctionally breathing.
Okay.
So in the moment that you start to move your breathing out of your face, one layer lower into the rib cage, you will feel the tension that you are having in your neck whilst dysfunctionally breathing. Because most of the breathing muscles are also in your neck. So if you are always not using the ribs, this is going to feel very tight. And my recommendation is for you to practice this either lying or sitting. We're going to do this in a second, or whilst walking, so that your body gets used to relaxing. Because I remember when we were working a little bit, there was always a lot of tension in the neck.
Yeah.
And that makes sense and is good for your sport in some points, but it's very important to also know how to have a relaxed neck muscles so that you don't lose so much energy during rest. And it would get better through practice. And so what I also do a lot is then, okay, we can massage the sternocleidos mastoideus. This is the muscle that connects the skull with the clavicle being on top of the rib cage, the clavicle being the bone that connects the shoulders to your rib cage. And you have to understand that if, let's say, you never move the ribs, is it very loud? Do you hear the person outside, or is the Zoom?
I
love
can
Zoom.
just hear you.
Okay, perfect.
Only you.
Okay. So what you need to understand is, let's say you never move the rib cage whilst you're breathing, and you can play with it a little bit now. So you can always touch your ribs and then try to expand and feel what is happening. There's so much more to say about the diaphragm too, but for now, that's the first information for you guys. If you're not moving the rib cage right, probably your rib cage is going to be pretty stiff. Okay, and your diaphragm is also going to be very weak because you're not using your diaphragm for breathing. You're using your mouth or other compensation mechanisms. If the diaphragm gets very weak, it also means that your rib cage is going to be placed differently. So let's say this is your rib cage and I'm facing this way. Many people, especially men, have a rib cage that is placed a bit more like this. So a bit more like proud, you know, like that. What happens if your rib cage is placed a little bit more like that? Your shoulders that are behind, if the rib cage is not neutral, which is fine, but if it isn't, your shoulders are also going to have a different position, which is then going to also create, at some point, a bit of more problems in your elbows or in your wrists. So the position of the rib cage, if it's not being used muscle and bone-wise through the motion of the lungs, it's going to also affect the position of the joints in your hips, knees, elbows, and wrists. Make sense? So if people have problems with the back, it can only come from bad breathing too. So let's practice maybe the 4 seconds in and 6 seconds out. What do you reckon? That we do that as a practice for 3 minutes and see how it feels? What happens? Does someone know what happens during inhalation with the diaphragm? Yes, Philip, tell me. Philip knows. Philip knows.
Okay.
It's lowering.
Say it again.
It's lowering.
Yes. It presses down.
The organs down.
Really good. Makes sense, no, Philip? Because when you inhale, there comes more air into your lungs. And for the air to spread into your lungs, the diaphragm is going to press the stomach, the liver, and the intestines down. So what happens is that it contracts. Do you know something more, Philip, about the diaphragm during inhalation?
I don't remember much, but I used to practice relaxation for diaphragm, like with the soft ball and under between the rib cage and the on the stomach, on the side of the stomach, and then inhale to the ball to relax the diaphragm.
Okay, excellent. Excellent. So let me then, before we start with the 4 and 6, explain you one more thing. So the diaphragm contracts, you know, a contraction of the biceps?
Okay.
So it happens the same during inhalation. Your diaphragm is going to contract and press the organs down. At the same time, it flattens. So it will push the rib cage to the front, side, and back. So it's like this. So it goes up during exhalation. Talk about that in a second. But inhalation, it goes boom in and then spreads the rib cage like this in all directions. And then during exhalation, what happens? It moves back up towards the heart, like super, super passive. It goes back up. Inhalation, boom, presses down, flattens out in all directions and spreads the rib cage out. So let's say if someone jumps on top of you or goes on top of your body in whatever position in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, you know how to spread your ribs to the outside so that you're not being flattened into the floor. So this is what happens during inhalation. You want to practice to create more tension in the rib cage and spread the bones to the sides. And then you want to practice, and this is very important for you guys because you're always like 360 days a year pushing. You want to learn to go into relaxation during exhale. So 6 seconds, you want to allow your diaphragm to move up to the heart. So try to sense this now that you inhale and try to feel that you're spreading the ribs to the back and to the side. Back and side. So it's almost as if there was a person in your ribs that is pushing the ribs to the back and to the side. And try to see that if you are capable, that during exhalation, you're moving the rib cage, relaxing it, and the ribs move back in. They become smaller. During inhalation, you want to feel how the lungs are being filled up with air. Your diaphragm contracts, even though it doesn't feel like it. It flattens down, it spreads the ribs to the sides and to the back. During exhalation, you feel like your rib cage relaxes and the diaphragm doesn't have to do anything. I thought that I have to be active during exhalation all my life. I was like, no, you want to feel how your diaphragm doesn't do anything. It's like really relaxing. And it's a dome-shaped muscle, so it works different than a muscle that runs horizontally or vertically. It moves different. And so what we want to do now is that we want to take 4 seconds to flatten out and expand the ribs to the sides and to the back, moving down. And then we want to feel how during exhalation, the diaphragm is relaxing, and the ribs are moving together towards your black belt. Inhale 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and exhale 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale, press to the sides and to the back. Exhale, release slowly. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale, press to the back and to the sides. Exhale slowly. Move the air. Resist the exhalation. 3, 2, 1. In, 2, 3. So we play with volume and exhale. 5. Really good, Jacek. This is the question this is the optimal way to breathe if you want to have an efficient oxygenation. In, 2, 3, 4. Exhale 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale, press, expand to the back, and exhale, feeling how the ribs are moving towards your belly button and relaxing the breastbone towards the heart. In, 2, 3, 4, and out. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale, press to the sides and to the back. 4, exhale. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. One last time. In, 3, 4, exhale. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Very last time, feeling how you're expanding in all directions. You don't need to inhale very deep. I just want you to expand. And exhale, feeling how you're moving slowly the air out of your body. Now you can ask questions if you have some, and then we do this one more time a little bit different. Philippe.
I have a question about it's something about Victor is talking about a few minutes ago, that when he is expanding, the here is going to tough. But what I notice is that when I do a softer breath, and the rib cage is expanding, but I'm not forcing the breath. I only do as much as I can for now. Is a little bit better.
And that's a rule for everything that happens in our brain, in relationships, in sport. But as I said, the breath, for me, it's a very direct access to wisdom. And what I mean with that is, you see, Philippe, if you push something, it feels wrong.
Yes.
You just have to allow stuff to happen. You need to know, sometimes in life and sports, we need to know when to push. But in the end, biomechanically, your breath is showing you how the body works, and the body works like all the other things in life. Not pushing, allowing. There is enough air for all of us, and we don't have to pay per exhale and inhale. So you can, instead of inhaling, the word is a bit mistaken too. Jacek, I take you in a second. Keep the hand up. Just, we say inhale. It's almost as if you should do an action. But the only action that I want you to do is to move the ribs and then just allow air to move in. That's why I never say take a deep breath, because I don't want you to do this. There's no need to. There's enough air. That's not necessary. So Philippe, I congratulate you, and I think that is a really good example for all of us. And also to respond to your first question, this stuff that you feel here is going to get down if instead of breathing in, you try to use that feedback of your body to relax as much as you can during inhalation.
Mhm. I have no problem to expand the ribs outside, but more to the back side. Okay, so the front and the sides are okay, but the back are a little bit stiff.
Yes, really good notice. Jacek, I'll take you in a second. So if you look at, I mean, now I didn't take a presentation to show you lungs, but if you look at my back, this area of my lungs is where the highest amount of oxygen is being transported to the body. So if we are not capable to move that area, it's normal. Everyone isn't able unless they learn it. We are missing a lot of oxygen. And so the image that I will give you now when we do it one more time is to think, I always say, don't breathe through your face. Imagine that you have two noses at this area of your body. Here is one, and here is one. And you are basically imagining that the air is coming in from behind. When you imagine that you're taking the air from the back to the front, it feels very different.
Okay.
Yeah?
Okay.
Try that for a second. And Jacek, you wanted to ask? Cool. Something?
Yeah, my questions actually very similar. I could like expand my chest forward. So when I take this breath, it's kind of my rib cage is kind of lifting, and it's expanding forward, but I cannot do this other directions. So my question is how to improve it.
Yes. So one of the problems in our language, because the body follows what we say, right? Like when you learn Jiu-Jitsu too, or any other sport, language is very important for mental performance, relationships, and growth in learning. So most of the words we use is breathe into your belly or take a deep breath. If you look at my body, I cannot breathe into my belly because, as I always say, so far, if I open you up and like when you're dead, and I open you up, never ever a lung has been found in a stomach. There is no organ that is capable to breathe in this area. It's not possible. The only organs that you have to breathe are here. So actually, we are breathing always into our backs. Now you have to imagine our brain functions like this. A bit like if I put my arms here, I'm not capable to see my fingers if they are here. I'm only capable to see my fingers when they are a bit more here. Then I can see them, like from the sides. Most of the things we do on the phone or on our computer is this. So everything your brain is doing all the time is thinking about this area of your body. You are, unless you spend maybe a month in the forest with your friends, killing animals and making wood, you will not be thinking of this in our society. So it's not your fault, it's just the education of your daily work, and everything that you see is here. So I always say, okay, now if you go for a walk and do this 10-minute exercise of 4 inhales in, 6 inhales out, 6 breaths, 6 seconds out, 4 seconds in, think of feeling the back. And for you and the others, I would recommend to touch the back every morning and every night, and every time before you go to the training, you just brush your back. Because then you have 180-degree more of space that you can use by becoming aware of that area. Just by sensing it, you will move different. And just try to put these two noses, 4 nostrils, in the back. So now, whilst you're breathing, guys, I want you to imagine that anatomically you have understood everything wrong and everything anatomy has been telling you was a lie, and we actually have no nose. We are breathing through the back. Just like imagine this was the new thing that you knew. And okay, it's a lie, but anatomically, actually what you can do is you can access air from that area. So what I teach in fantasy world that we inhale from the back and we inhale from the down to the up. So instead of thinking, and that anatomically is correct, but it takes a more understanding of how pressure works and air works to understand that air is not moving in, down, but because of the pressure, the air is moving down, up. It's just another perspective on movement. So now I want you to think of 2 things. You have the 4 noses in the back of your ribs, and you want to inhale, filling a bottle up. So if I would put this underneath the water, the bottle, if it was empty, it will be filled up. Even though it comes up from the outside up, you will see that it fills down, up. Does it make sense? If I have a glass of water, even though the water is coming from the up, it's filling up from down, up. So I want you to imagine that the air is doing the same. Even though you're pulling it up here, the air is moving from the lowest part of your lungs to the upper part of your lungs. So you're inhaling down, up. It feels very different. Do you feel it? And then instead of thinking that we're breathing from here, again, you're breathing from here. And you're trying to move the air from this part. It's almost as if you had wings like this. And you have to be able to feel them from the back to the up. And if you practice that during rest, slow out. And this is the last image that I'm going to give you. Then we're going to do an exercise because I think you also have to go and sleep at some point, no? I always say to Victor and all my students and clients, I say, you have money in your nose. And during every exhalation, you're exhaling 600 euros, dollars, which means you inhale from the back, up, that's the inhalation, 4 seconds to the sides. And then the exhalations, it's $600, 100, 200, 300, 400, 500, 600. Then again, you inhale from the back to the sides, expanding, and then you go again. 100, 200, 300, 400, 500, 600. And you know how to spend money slow, guys. You don't spend $600 in the first day of the month, unless you're on vacation and you want to impress a woman, you know? So what you want to have is the feeling of spending the money very slowly. So we have 2 pick noses in the back of your ribs. We are filling up the bottle from the bottom to the top, and then we have $600 per exhale. Let's try this for 2 more minutes. What's again your name? Quitsti? Yeah.
Hello, I'm Matt.
Mark?
Matt.
Matt, I love the name. Okay, so Matt, you were feeling that we were doing just 3 minutes of 4 seconds in, 6 seconds out, and you felt totally different with your nervous system, right?
Yeah, exactly. I feel I'm calm the nervous system, yeah, because it's so much strange because I'm just finished my training, so it's also I think I'm trying to hurry up from the training session to house to get on the Zoom, so I'm always on the rush. So if I'm sitting here calm and slowly breathing, I feel I'm really calm my nervous system like this.
Perfect,
Because I
Matt.
don't feel it after the training session.
You still felt like this, no?
Yeah, because I'm driving so fast because I'm trying to hurry up on the Zoom, yeah.
So perfect, Matt. Thank you for making the time for this. I really, really, really appreciate it from the other side of the world and all the rest as well, because I know it's nighttime and Friday and you're like, fuck, I hate winter and all of that. So I really appreciate it so much. And what I want to say again, I don't want you, and I'm going to do the 3 minutes again. I don't want you to become Zen. And then I know I hate these breathing teachers that are, you know, you go to a breathing lesson, they already welcoming you like this. And then it's just when you do that, you're going to find the source to Jesus. I don't believe in that, because life is this. Life is this. Life is okay, do this, do that, do that. So now the cue would be for Philip, Jacek, Rafael, Matt, Utsi Toknovnik, and Victor. So for everyone who is in the group, to practice 4 in, 6 out while doing this. Car, hurrying, and then you say, okay, Sarah said $600. So every time that you think of Victor or of me or of Rafael, you feel tension. When you feel tension, that's a sign that your body wants you to spend the money. Okay, and then you say, okay, every now and then you're going to incorporate a 3 to 6 seconds exhale. It doesn't have to be a religion. I'm happy if you go 4, 6 for 10 minutes every day. Awesome. Or 30 minutes every day. You can't do this enough. But when you're in the car, when your mother is shouting at you, when your wife is saying the same thing over and over again, you go just $600. Okay? So we're going to do this one more time. You're going to think of the nostrils in the back. You incorporate this into everyday life. You expand the ribs to the sides. You press the organs down. And then slowly you're going to feel how your diaphragm relaxes for $200, $300, $400, $500, $600, pulling the air from the back into the front of your body. And then you're going to expand the ribs to the sides, pushing the organs down into your pelvis for $600, relaxing them going up towards the heart. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Pulling the air from the back, filling the water bottle up like air bottle, and then feeling how the diaphragm is relaxing up towards the heart, releasing the tension in your collarbones, your shoulders, your neck. You can imagine that your throat is smiling. Imagine that this part is smiling. Then you exhale again for 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Pressing the organs down into your pelvis, expanding to the sides, pulling the air from the back up into the rib cage, and then exhaling, feeling how the air moves out. $600, $500, $400, $300, 2, 1. If that creates air hunger, that's fine. Keep inhaling, pushing everything to the sides, inhaling from the back, exhaling, feeling how the diaphragm relaxes, and you're easily spending the money, very sexy and smooth and slow. For 2, 1. Again, feeling the air moving from the back through the ribs, 12 ribs, expanding the ribs, relaxing the collarbones, the neck, feel how you're smiling. Exhaling, you're going to slowly allow the ribs to move back into space. 200, 100. Good, Rafael. I know it's hard. In, 2, 3, 4. If the exhalations create a little bit of air hunger, $300, $200, $100, that's all right. Last time, inhaling, pushing the air from the back, pulling the air to the side, like superpower from the outside in, exhaling, feeling how the air moves out of your body for $300, $200, $100. One last time, pulling the air from the back through the ribs into the sides, pushing everything down whilst the diaphragm flattens down. The air moves slowly. 600, 500, 400, 300, 200. Hold your breath for 3 seconds. In, 2, 3, and release. How you feeling now, Philippe and Jacek? Was it a bit better?
Yeah, much better actually. Thank you.
Perfect. More questions, Jacek? Something that came to your mind, or?
Yeah, so I should do this. Okay, I should do this exercise while stressed, right? So let's say I have stress at work, and then I do it, right?
100% while stressed, but we want to practice this whilst being calm and safe. So you will have to take 5 minutes or 10 minutes out of your incredibly important schedule for me every day, where you say, okay, I'm going to pay, you can pay yourself €1 or whatever you want per 10 minutes that you relax. Just like give yourself a goodie, but you're going to lay on the back and practice 4 in, 6 out, because your body needs to know how it feels out of stress whilst at rest. 5 to 10 minutes whilst being at rest. You want to practice breathing from the back, pressing the diaphragm down, expanding everything into all sides, feeling the money moving out slow, so that when you are stressed, it feels natural. But we need to fake it. We need to fake that is important. And I do this at the end of every training. I take 2 to 3 minutes off, where I just lay on the floor and I try to regulate my breath for 4 in, 6 out. If I can, I try to exhale slow during rounds. So while you're rolling with someone, and then you may take a slow moment off, focus on feeling the ribs moving, focus on exhaling very slow. It doesn't necessarily have to be 4 in, 6 out, but your rule is slow exhales. You don't need to deeply inhale, because that's going to happen automatically at some point. But during inhalation, you pull from the back to the front and you expand. You want to feel your ribs moving. That's your first homework. Ribs moving. You do the test 3 times a day to check how fast you're breathing. And our goal is to overall, during rest, slow down your breaths per minute. Why? Because that's going to increase your oxygenation. That's going to increase the efficiency during your chemistry in your brain. Chemistry working in your favor, digestion, blah, 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 sleep, blah, 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 for your body, your joints to move more efficient. And you can easily do 4 and 6, also 3 to 5, 3 to 10 minutes before sleeping. But your sleep is only going to be as good as your breaths are during the day. So you cannot fix the problem if you're doing breathing too much throughout the day. It's going to be shit overnight. Does it make sense? This is like the baseline to everything. This is like the basics to biomechanics. Biomechanics is the rib cage, and biochemistry is 4 and 6 to change your oxygenation levels. If we start to have that as a base, we can meet again, and then I'm going to give you another little step. Your rule for now is during training, during work, during whatever, only nasal breathing. Why? To train your diaphragm. But nasal breathing is worthless if you're not moving your ribs, because otherwise you're just breathing here. And I want you to breathe here. Still, nasal breathing to have good biochemistry.
Do you think that would be a good idea to do like a sprint and then try to breathe like this? Because I'm doing like a exercise when I do like a 20 seconds of air bike, and then I'm trying to rest by only breathing through nose, which is really difficult.
Yes, so whatever you do, only nasal breathing.
Okay, yeah.
But Jacek, Victor, I take you in a second. Jacek, what you want, if you want, guys, if you're doing running, or if you're doing, I don't know, the steps in the gym where you're walking up, or let's say steps in your home, or when you're doing cycling, if you want to train a little bit harder, you can try to do 4 seconds in, 6 seconds out while cycling, running, or doing any other cardio. Then it's going to be very, very hard. You're going to feel it's like you're basically dying. So whatever you do, the rule for stamina is mouth shut on the mat, mouth shut at night. And if you can also tape your mouth like this, with something that tapes your mouth like that, so that your mouth stays fairly closed, because all of us are going to breathe like this at night. 4 in, 6 out, if you're moving very fast, is going to be very hard, but possible. good training base. But I would give you like, this is what I do with Victor or people, is I do schedules for people when they have a strength workout and stuff. I tell you what to do to improve your breathing. For now, believe me, it's more important to improve your breathing during rest. If you improve your breathing during rest, it's going to get better during movement. But you cannot, no athlete in the world can have an excellent breath during his athleticism and breathe like this whilst rest. It doesn't work. You're going to be shit at breathing if you're shit at resting. Yeah? Victor.
Yeah, I saw on one of the clips that you told people to tape their mouth during the rolls. This is badass. I wouldn't do that, but can you actually do this? Would you recommend to try this one?
Yes, so when I teach workshops in life, or when I or my colleagues work with people that work for Olympia or on a high level, or are working towards a high level, whatever, right? You can go running with a tape on your mouth, or you can roll, like if the whole class is okay with that and you're the teacher, it's really recommendable to tape the mouth of the students, because that's when they notice, fuck. Everyone is able to do this, open a bit and then you breathe through the mouth.
Yeah.
But once you tape the mouth, and I do with the people that I coach, guys, so if you want, you can try that. Many people feel anxiety during night to tape their mouth. So whilst they are working on their laptops or at home, cleaning their home, cooking, whatever, tape your mouth. Just to see if you're actually breathing through your mouth or not. That's a
Okay.
good way to practice it.
For the next month, during the training, I will always tape the mouth during rolls. Let's try that.
The weirdo. Questions? Weird feelings? Things that make no sense because of another breathing technique that you've learned before? I mean, this is now very basic still. But we can't move into the fancy shit if the basics are not there. Do you want to try one last test before leaving where we push and see a bit how long you can hold your breath after exhalation?
By the way, Rafael, don't you have any questions? All good from your side?
No, it's good. It's interesting. The perspective is wide, multi-point of multi-point. You are giving us perspective from multiple levels, like perspective from outside, inside, from the mechanics of the rib cage and diaphragm. Yes, and this exercise just helps. Probably will help us to expand just the amount of air moving through the organ. This is the most important thing for me. So no questions right now. If you want guys to go through the exercise, the last one of Sarah, I'm okay to do this. How about you?
Okay, sure.
Okay, so yes, for me right now, it's just important to move you out of inefficient breathing to efficient breathing, and from breathing disorders to breathing in a better manner. So it just makes sense to understand the biomechanics of the rib cage. I mean, I just talked to it like this. Even though I talked a lot, it was just the surface. The rib cage has an impact on the position of the shoulder blades. The rib cage has an impact on the position of the spine. The rib cage has an impact on the position of your head, on the position of your pelvis, knees, and feet. So if you position that big monster in an efficient way, the rest is going to start feeling really good. And remember, we want to change what we can whilst feeling safe and at rest, so that we can then start to move that skill into really hard stuff. And the more simple, the better for now, or in general. We're going to try one thing. You're going to inhale through the nose, no big inhale, just like normal inhale. normal exhale, and we're going to hold our breath. We're going to try now, because I don't know you guys, to hold the breath for 30 seconds. I'm going to tell you 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. That's going to be outside of your comfort zone, most definitely. What is going to happen, I told you before, you inhale, you exhale. Whilst you're exhaling, you hold your breath. In your lungs, CO2 is being produced. A lot of CO2 molecules, a lot of CO2. CO2, when you have a lot of CO2 in your body, your brain is going to get a signal and say, you're going to die, you're going to die, don't do this. And you can remember, the more CO2 you have in your body, the more oxygen you can take. So you're basically producing cars. So the worse you feel, the more cars you're producing. I'm saying this because you're going to feel really, really bad. Okay? And then you say, okay, it's chilled, it's just CO2. My brain is wired to give me a signal for me to survive, just CO2. Okay, guys. So just inhale and exhale. Normally, you're not going to have more air in your body if you inhale deeply. The air that you have in right now depends on how slow you have been exhaling throughout the day. Just imagine what is going to happen in the next 30 seconds. You inhale, you exhale normally, and then you're going to pinch your nose. 10. Good. Keep going. 5 in. 10 in. Easy for you. Now you're going to start feeling it. It's fine. It's just CO2. 15. It's easy. 20. It's just 10 more seconds. It's just CO2. Maybe it's the diaphragm moving a little bit. 25. Then you have 30 seconds. You can take a break now, or you can keep pushing. I'm going to tell you what much. Good, good, good. This is just CO2. Good, good, Matt. 35. Good, guys. 40. Nasal breathing only. Good. 45. Good, Philippe. 60. 65. Good. Good, guys. That's a breath hold. You hold your breath for 30, 35, 40, 45 seconds. 60, 65. Okay? And next time that we meet each other, we're going to check our bold to see how efficient or inefficient you're breathing. Bold, it's the breathing oxygen level test. What we just did now was maximum breathlessness test. So yeah, how long can you push? This was the first tryout. The bold would be, you inhale, you exhale, you pinch your nose, and when you feel the first urge to breathe in, you let go. Yeah? So maybe we can do this one more time. If you have a phone, take it and then put your timer on so that you can see what your time was. So let's say I inhale, exhale, pinch my nose, press on play. Yes, ciao. This is the last thing that we do. Thank you for coming. Let's say now I have to breathe. Boom. I let go. Thank you so much. And then it would be 8 seconds is my bold. Okay, breathing oxygen level test. I tell you what the number means in a second. Okay, so again, you take, whenever you're ready, a normal inhale, normal exhale, pinch your nose and press play. There's going to be anxiety now already. And when you feel, now I would like to breathe in the first urge, you let go. So you don't push. Good, good, Matt. I think it was 15 seconds, more or less. Good, Rafael. Good, Philippe. Good, Jacek. Good, Victor. Good, yes. What was the rest of the group? Did you write down? Did you check the phone? Yes, I saw that too, Victor. Jacek, how much was it more or less? I think 25. Can it be? 20, Rafael?
26.
Good, 14 is good, is good, is good. See, this is the potential that we have. So oxygen advantage explains, I'll just keep it short now, I can explain more next time, that if you have a breathing oxygen level test, so the first urge that you feel happens before 25 seconds, it shows me that you are inhaling and exhale too many times per minute. And probably that your exhales are super small, like 2-3 seconds, and then you go back into inhaling. So meaning you're taking air in all the time. Your goal then, if you are under 25, is to learn to make a 3 to 4 to 5 seconds exhalation. So you want to make sure that you spend in between $300 and $600 per exhalation. If you have a bolt over 25 seconds, it means that you are, from the point of view of the science of oxygen advantage, in a efficient breathing pattern. Now, this is the first time that you did it. Maybe if you do it again, the number is going to stay the same, or you're going to have a totally different number. But if you want, as a last homework, you can write down your bolt every day after waking up. And next time we meet, you tell me which was the number that you have. The bolt is not going to change a lot for now. It's like if you put your feet on a weight and you check your weight. You're not going to weigh 7 kilos more or less the next day unless you do something very weird. Okay, so I'm going to summarize the homework. If you want, you're sleeping, you're waking up, you think of Sarah, you check your phone, you make a bolt test. Inhale, exhale, first urge to breathe, boom. Okay, number 17. Writing it down every day or 3 times a week to check it. Second homework, you're going to check your 1-minute ventilation for 60 or 30 seconds. Check it before training, after training, when at peace. Then you can see how many times have you been breathing. Matt, if for you it would be 22 times per minute, you know, okay, fuck, I have to spend more money while exhaling. Then you know. And never forcing and pushing too much. For now, it's a sweet spot of just observing and being kind to yourself. Last homework would be 10 minutes walking, laying, sitting, of practicing rib cage expansion from the back to the front up, exhaling for 6 seconds. So 4, 6 for 10 minutes minimum per day. When I start working with people, I give 3 times 10 minutes. So that your body learns to slow down your fucking exhales. Friends, I'm so thankful that you came. I'm so grateful for the ones that are watching and rewatching. If you have any questions, you message me on Instagram whenever. My Instagram, Victor can give it to you. Otherwise, this is it. And if I don't reply immediately, be just very needy and message me again, because right now I'm still a bit for 7 days in Guatemala, but I'll be there for you whenever you need it as fast as I can, okay? Okay, that's it.
Awesome. That was great.
Thank you, Sarah. Big thanks. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.